Nobody's coming. 7-year-old Skylar Williams whispered to her teddy bear, watching the snow fall in the narrow alley behind Meridian Corporate Tower. Her small birthday cupcake sat on a cardboard box, its single candle flickering against the winter wind. The golden light from a nearby street lamp cast dancing shadows on the brick walls. She wasn't supposed to be here, but the group home was loud tonight, and nobody remembered it was her birthday. Again. Well, a deep voice echoed from the shadows. What do we have here? Skylar looked up to see a tall man in an expensive gray coat, his silver-streaked hair perfectly styled despite the weather. Marcus Kane, CEO of Kane Industries, stepped closer, his polished shoes crunching on the snow-covered pavement. "You shouldn't be out here alone, kid," Marcus said, his voice carrying the authority of someone used to boardrooms and million-dollar deals. At 45, he commanded respect wherever he went, except here, in this forgotten alley, facing a child with tearful blue eyes. "I'm not alone," Skylar replied firmly, hugging her teddy bear tighter. "I have Mr. Buttons." Marcus almost smiled. "Almost. Right. And what's the occasion?" He nodded toward the cupcake, its flame dancing precariously in the wind. "It's my birthday," she said quietly. "I'm 7 now." Something in her voice made Marcus pause. He'd been heading to his penthouse apartment after another 16-hour workday, another evening of reading reports, instead of having dinner with, well, there was no one to have dinner with. His ex-wife, Rebecca, had taken their son Tyler to California 3 years ago. The divorce papers cited his inability to prioritize family. "Where are your parents?" Marcus asked, crouching down to her level. "I don't have any," Skylar said matter-of-factly. "I live at Sunrise Group Home with Miss Jenny and 12 other kids. But they're all older and they think I'm weird because I talk to Mr. Buttons." Marcus felt an uncomfortable tightness in his chest. "And you came here because nobody remembered," she whispered, then looked up at him with curious eyes. "You don't have a family too?" The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. He thought of his empty penthouse, the takeout containers in his refrigerator, the silence that greeted him every night. "No," he admitted quietly. "I guess I don't." Skylar studied his face with the intensity only children possess. "Then you should come to my birthday party. It's just me and Mr. Buttons, but there's enough cupcake for 3. Marcus glanced at his Rolex. He had a conference call with Tokyo in an hour, quarterly reports to review, emails piling up. "I really should. Please." Skylar's voice was small, but hopeful. "I never had a grown-up at my birthday before." Something cracked inside Marcus's carefully constructed walls. He found himself sitting on the cold cardboard box beside her, his $1,000 suit getting damp from the snow. "All right, Skylar Williams, let's have a birthday party." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the snow fall heavier now. The cupcake's flames somehow stayed lit, casting a warm glow on their faces. "Why were you walking through this alley anyway?" Skylar asked. Marcus hesitated. The truth was embarrassing. I sometimes take different routes home. The main streets are too..." He paused. "Too full of families, happy people going places together." Skylar nodded solemnly. "I do that too. When the other kids at the home have visitors, I hide, so I don't have to watch." They understood each other's loneliness perfectly. "Make a wish," Marcus said, gesturing to the candle. Skylar closed her eyes tight. Marcus watched her small face scrunch in concentration, and for a moment he remembered Tyler at that age, making wishes on birthday cakes Marcus had missed. Because of work trips. She blew out the candle. "What did you wish for?" Marcus asked. "Can't tell or won't come true," Skylar said seriously. Then after a pause, "What would you wish for, Mr. Marcus Kane?" He thought for a long moment. "I'd wish for a second chance." Skylar broke the cupcake in half, giving him the larger piece. "Maybe we both get our wishes." As they ate in comfortable silence, Marcus found himself talking about Tyler, about the bedtime stories he'd missed, the baseball games he'd skipped, the family vacations that became business trips. Skylar listened, with the wisdom of someone who understood abandonment, even if hers was different. My mom left me at the hospital when I was born, Skylar said quietly. But Miss Jenny says maybe she just couldn't take care of me, not that she didn't love me. Marcus thought of Rebecca's tearful words during their last fight. You love your company more than us. Marcus, Tyler needs a father, not a bank account. Sometimes adults make mistakes, Marcus said softly. Big ones. The snow was falling harder now. Marcus checked his phone. 3 missed calls, 7 emails. But for once, he didn't care. I should get you back to the group home, Marcus said reluctantly. Skylar's face fell. Will I see you again? Marcus hesitated. Getting involved with a child from the system was complicated, but looking at her hopeful face, he heard himself saying, How about I visit you next weekend? Her smile was radiant. As they walked toward his car, Skylar slipped her small hand into his. Mr. Marcus, do you think people can become family, even if they're not born family? Marcus squeezed her hand gently. I think that might be the best kind of family there is. Over the following months, Marcus began visiting Skylar every weekend. He attended her school plays, helped with homework, and slowly learned that love wasn't about grand gestures. It was about showing up. But it was during one of these visits that Jenny Morrison, the group home director, pulled him aside with news that would change everything. Marcus, we've been contacted by Skylar's aunt in Portland. She wants to petition for custody. Marcus felt the ground shift beneath him. He'd been planning to start the adoption process himself. There's something else, Jenny continued, her voice careful. The aunt mentioned something about Skylar's mother. She didn't abandon Skylar. She died in childbirth, and there was confusion about the family contact information. Skylar's been in the system due to a paperwork error. That night, Marcus sat in his penthouse, staring at the adoption papers he'd been preparing. His phone rang. It was Tyler, calling from California. Dad. Tyler's voice was hesitant. Mom said you've been different lately. Happier. I was wondering, could I visit this summer? Marcus closed his eyes, thinking of Skylar's question about chosen family. I'd love that, Tyler. And there's someone I'd like you to meet. 3 weeks later, at the custody hearing, Marcus stood before the judge alongside Sarah Blackwood, Skylar's aunt, a kind teacher who'd been searching for her niece for years. Your Honor, Marcus said, his voice steady despite his breaking heart, I withdraw my petition for adoption. Ms. Blackwood is Skylar's family, and that little girl deserves to know where she comes from. Skylar looked between the 2 adults who loved her, confusion and sadness mixing in her young eyes. But Sarah Blackwood stepped forward. Your Honor, I'd like to propose something different. I've been watching Mr. Kane with my niece, and I've never seen a child more loved. What if Skylar could have both families? 1 year later, Marcus stood in his backyard in Portland. He'd relocated his company's headquarters to be closer to Skylar. The snow was falling gently, just like that night in the alley. But now, it fell on a birthday party filled with laughter. Tyler, now 13, was teaching Skylar how to build a snowman. Sarah was inside making hot chocolate. And Jenny had driven down from Seattle to celebrate. Dad, Tyler called out, Skylar wants to know if you'll tell us about the night you two met. Marcus smiled, remembering a lonely little girl who'd taught him that family wasn't about blood or biology. It was about choosing to show up again and again, even when it was hard. Well, Marcus began, sitting on a bench as the children gathered around. It all started with a birthday wish. As Skylar snuggled against his side, Marcus realized that sometimes the most broken people find each other exactly when they need to. And sometimes, just sometimes, birthday wishes really do come true. The snow continued to fall, but this time, neither of them was alone in the cold.